Boys and girls, I hope you all had a great weekend. I'm going to read another story from Six by Seuss in the Yertle, the Turtle, and Other Stories parts. We read Gertrude McFuzz on Friday. I think it was Friday. And today we're going to read The Big Brag. The Big Brag. One second, let me mute my watch. The Big Brag. The rabbit felt mighty important that day. On the top of the hill in the sun where he lay, he felt so important up there on that hill that he started in bragging, as animals will, and he boasted out loud as he threw out his chest. Of all of the beasts in the world, I'm the best. On land and on sea, even up in the sky, no animal lives who is better than I. So there's the rabbit, bragging about how wonderful he is. What's that? Growled a voice that was terribly gruff. Now why do you say such ridiculous stuff? The rabbit looked down and he saw a big bear. I'm the best of the beasts, said the bear, and so there. He does look grumpy, and the rabbit looks a little nervous. I guess the bear could eat him. You're not, snapped the rabbit. I'm better than you. Pooh, snorted the bear. Again I say pooh. You talk mighty big, Mr. Rabbit, that's true. But how can you prove it? Just what can you do? Thought the rabbit. Now, what can I do? He thought, and he finally said, Mr. Bear, do you see those two ears on my head? My ears are so keen and so sharp and so fine, no ears in the world can hear better than mine. Rabbits do have pretty big ears. Do you think they have good hearing? Humph, grunted the bear, and he looked at each ear. You say that they're good, said the bear with a sneer, but how do I know just how far they can hear? I'll prove, said the rabbit, my ears are the best. You sit there and watch me. I'll prove it by test. Then he stiffened his ears till they both stood up high and pointed straight up at the blue of the sky. He stretched his ears open as wide as he could. Shh, I am listening, he said as he stood. He listened so hard that he started to sweat, and the fur on his ears and his forehead got wet. Wonder what he hears. For 7 long minutes he stood. Then he stirred, and he said to the bear, Do you know what I heard? Do you see that far mountain? It's 90 miles off. There's a fly on that mountain. I just heard him cough. Now that cough of that fly, sir, is quite hard to hear when he's 90 miles off, but I heard it quite clear. So you see, bragged the rabbit, it's perfectly true that my ears are the best, so I'm better than you. You see the mountain and the little fly on top of it that coughed. It's pretty far away. The bear, for a moment, just sulked as he sat, for he knew that his ears couldn't hear things like that. This rabbit, he thought, made a fool out of me. Now I've got to prove that I'm better than he. So he said to the rabbit, You can hear pretty well. You can hear 90 miles, but how far can you smell? I'm the greatest of smellers, he bragged. See my nose? This nose on my face is the finest that grows. My nose can smell anything, both far and near. With my nose I can smell twice as far as you hear. Twice as far as 180 miles. Do you think he can smell something that's 180 miles away, or is he just making stuff up to try to be better than the rabbit? You can't, snapped the rabbit. I can, growled the bear, and he stuck his big nose way up high in the air. He wiggled that nose, and he sniffed, and he snuffed, and he waggled his nose, and he whiffed, and he wuffed. For more than 10 minutes he snaffed and he snuffed. Then he said to the rabbit, I've smelled far enough. Wonder what he smelled. All right, said the rabbit. Come on now and tell. Exactly how far is the smell that you smell? Oh, I'm smelling a very far smell, said the bear. Away past that fly on the mountain out there. I'm smelling past many great mountains beyond, 600 miles more to the edge of a pond. Wonder what's on the edge of the pond that he smells. And way, way out there by the pond you can't see is a very small farm, and on that farm is a tree. On that tree is a branch, on that branch is a nest, a very small nest where 2 tiny eggs rest. 2 hummingbird eggs, only half an inch long. But my nose, said the bear, is so wonderfully strong. My nose is so good that I can smell without fail that the egg on the left is a little bit stale. And that is the thing that no rabbit can do. So you see, the bear boasted, I'm better than you. My smeller's so keen that it just can't be beat. And there's the hummingbird eggs. And what he means is one stale, then it's probably a bad egg and it won't hatch. What's that? Called a voice from way down by his feet. The bear and the rabbit looked down at the sound, and they saw an old worm crawling out of the ground. Now, boys, said the worm, you've been bragging a lot. You both think you're great, but I think that you're not. You are not half as good as a fellow like me. You hear and you smell, but how far can you see? Now, I'm here to prove that you big boasting boys, that your nose and your ears or big boasting guys, that your nose and your ears aren't as good as my eyes. Do you think a worm can see very far? I mean, look at how little he is. And he lives under the ground. What do you see under the ground? If you're underground, it's just dark. There's nothing to see. And the little old worm cocked his head to one side, and he opened his eyes, and he opened them wide, and they looked far away with a strange sort of stare, as if they were burning 2 holes in the air. The eyes of that worm almost popped from his head. He stared half an hour till his eyelids got red. That's enough, growled the bear. Tell the rabbit and me, how far did you look, and just what did you see? It's hard to imagine what he might have seen. Well, boys, said the worm, that look that I took was a look that looked further than you'll ever look. I looked across the ocean way out to Japan, for I can see further than anyone can. There's no one on earth who has eyesight that's finer. I looked past Japan and I looked across China. I looked across Egypt and then took a quick glance across the 2 countries of Holland and France. Then I looked across England and also Brazil, but I didn't stop there. I looked much further still. He's looked around the whole world. Just about. I kept right on looking and looking until I looked round the world and right back to this hill. And I saw on this hill, since my eyesight's so keen, the 2 biggest fools that I have ever seen. And the fools that I saw are none other than you, who seem to have nothing else better to do than sit here and argue who's better than who. Did the worm really see that far, or is he playing a trick on them? I mean, we can see pretty far. The moon is how many thousands of miles away, and I see it every night. The sun is millions of miles away, and when it's not cloudy, you can see it. But do you think he really looked around the world and could see the bear and the rabbit, or he's just playing a prank and telling them they're being silly for arguing over who's the better hearer and who's the better smeller? Then the little old worm gave his head a small jerk, and he dived in his hole and went back to his work. I think the worm was just being a joker. and pointing out to the bunny and the bear that they were being silly for arguing over who was the better at smelling and who was the better at hearing. It doesn't really matter who's better as long as you can do them. And everybody is better at something than somebody else. So it's what it is. You guys have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.